Did we level up again? We did! Okay, so I can't put any more into this. Could increase the damage even further, but I think I'm just going to keep pumping it into stats. Ooh. I want to grab that one, because that gives me an explosive radius on my own shots, which is good. But otherwise, I want to work towards these. Two-handed or ranged weapon. Okay, so we want to go for this. One-handed melee weapon. Damn it. I guess those are modifiers, so you can do something different. Okay. So we still got to help Kasparov. So we need some Aether Shards. Let's see. I guess let's go back to the other one. Figure it out. Okay. Last time people dealt with a mass plague like this, it was the Black Death. Actually, it was SARS and swine flu. I know it was bad back then, too. And very similar setup. Main difference is... Oh, I guess I can... Why don't I put the, cocktail here so I can just right-click? I think the problem is a lot of people, a lot of you in chat are probably younger, so you probably weren't very old when either of those were going through. SARS was like a... I didn't even know too much about SARS. SARS is probably my version of swine flu. But that very much was one of those things that was like, nobody was prepared for it. Oh, I've already been here. God damn it. I see. Those are not actually quest entrances. Those are just... Got it. But yeah, no, we've had minor plagues and all sorts of doom and gloom things go by. And I'll grant, like, it's all scary, and there are reasons to always be concerned and safe. But I think a lot of it is more so, it's more worthwhile to take care of yourself and your health, and your habits, than, like, truly panic about stuff. And so, yes, obviously, like, don't fly to China right now. That's probably foolish. And if you can avoid going to, like, large things, sure. So, like, yeah, I'm obviously taking a very unnecessary risk going to Disney. I just had this trip planned for ages, and it's just kind of like... do I want to just, like, cancel it and then potentially not go? Or, you know, obviously risk it when there hasn't been any issues so far yet in the US? And the answer is, I'm probably fine. At Disneyland or World? Disneyland. I'm more or less hoping that Disneyland's going to be relatively quiet this time of year. And then obviously, you know, try not to, touch my face. You know, wipe down stuff if I'm going to be putting anything near my face anytime soon. So on and so forth. Yeah, Sony's backed out of a lot of cons and conferences because of it. I mean, it makes sense. Like, in Sony's case, like, why risk it? Especially, like, if it knocks your whole company on its ass for, like, a week or whatever. Because that's actually one of the main issues, specifically that's hitting China right now, is less so that it's particularly deadly. I mean, who knows? They're particularly mum, unsurprisingly. But the biggest issue with a lot of, you know, infection areas is less so the amount of people getting sick, and more so actually just the sheer lack of people being able to go out and work. Wait, I can rotate? I didn't know I could rotate the camera in this game. Oh, yeah, I can. That's new. Let's see. Mayor of Boston asked Sony to reconsider. I think it's fine for Sony to not... I mean, it's their prerogative to keep their employees safe. And yeah, if all of Sony was suddenly super sick, then... Ooh, that would stand in the way of some things. Let's see. But yeah, the other thing is, like, science is really, improve leaps and bounds in SARS, or even swine flu. And there's a lot more, like, labs working on this stuff, too. So it's kind of easy for me to be, at least, relatively optimistic whenever it comes to, let's see, Barrel Hill entrance. So we've been in that one. It's easier for me to be optimistic, just in terms of, like, yeah, I doubt it's going to be like a bubonic plague. Because the reason why the bubonic plague was so bad wasn't because the bubonic plague itself was, like, I mean, it was awful. But the reason why the bubonic plague was so bad was people had no hygiene, terrible sewage and plumbing, and relied more on, like, superstition to keep themselves safe than, you know, actual medical science. Like, if I remember right, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Like, the pocket full of posies was, specifically, I think that was bubonic plague. That might be another one. Let's see. I think the posies were, like, supposed to help you, but it was really just to help the smell. Same thing with the plague doctor masks and a bunch of other stuff. Cover up the smell of the dead bodies. Uh-oh. This is a new one. Okay, we're good. That's scary. Let's see. Also, thank you, Svenkos, for the 14-month resub. And thank you, Irian, for the 2,400 bits. Love your YouTube content. Is Grim Dawn better than Wolcen, in your opinion? Yes. And... Oh. What? Who? What? No? I don't know if any of you guys are trying to join me. I loaded this up single player, so I'm kind of confused. That's why it froze. Yeah, somebody joined me. I swear I have this on single player. Okay, but yeah, they had no idea it was coming for the rats and were busy bloodletting and opening the sores, which only helps spread it more. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, stuff like the bubonic was terrifying, mainly because, like, no one knew how to deal with it. Nowadays, yeah, it's bad. You know, dread diseases are terrible, but try going offline to stop that. I launched this game solo. Well, it's fine. Anybody that thinks it's a good idea to just join me, just gets a ban. And if it's a serious problem, I'll just, yeah, set to offline. But, like, if you're ever watching me play something and it's multiplayer, always ask first, otherwise instant ban. If I can recognize you, I will remove you from my friends list, because I know this sounds callous, and I know people, like, want to play with me, but, like, I'm trying to record a series. That person was level 90. If they'd hopped in, that would have meant this entire series would take a hard left turn, as somebody would either carry my ass through everything, or more or less just kind of... It wouldn't be, me doing a series anymore. That can work if I'm playing a game where, you know, I don't care, or if I'm, like, grinding for something pointless, but that is always something you want to ask first. Let's see, plague originated in the Himalayas. Bubonic? Or current one? Because I know the main issue with the current one is purely because of Chinese wet markets. I know some people are supposing that it came from, like, a lab, which actually is quite possible. Apparently, as a money-making measure, they sell just, like, animals that were experimented on, just to wet markets. So it's like, hey, yeah, we were doing genetic experiments on these bats, but now you can go cut them up and eat them. And it's like, ah... That's bad. Okay, Black Plague came from the Himalayas. Interesting. I had no idea. Would this be post-Mongolian invasion? I actually never studied the bubonic plague in school. That was the Dark Ages are actually a bit of a dark age for me in terms of historical context. Because I went from ancient history to Renaissance to U.S. history, and I never really, like, filled in the blanks. There's bad, obviously. And, like, history is important. History is extremely important. Okay, so we're gonna go Inquisitor. Which is the one that has the ricochet shot? I have no idea. Well, at the very least, picking this up wouldn't be a bad idea. Pierce damage, some other things. I can't really tell which one. Oh, god damn it. Is somebody else joining me? Okay, I'm really curious about this. Nobody should be able to join me. I loaded this up as a single-player game. No. Apparently I didn't. I'd swear I'd said it's a single-player, but I guess not. Alright. Oh, that's fine. Oh, let me guess. I didn't actually have the... Yeah, I didn't actually get the upper crossing map along the way. Okay, anyway, so, doom and gloom aside, let's stop talking about plague stuff, because plague stuff is dumb. Y'all can fearmonger elsewhere, and I'm gonna start cracking down on it, because I don't think it's worth worrying about yet, and I'd rather we not spend the rest of the night just purely talking about this. So anyway, the question was, is Grim Dawn better than Wilson? My general thing is yes. I think Grim Dawn is better than Wilson, largely because, well, Wilson is has some, like, really neat things going for it. It just hasn't had the time to develop, and it has a lot of, like, weird bugs and weird issues that kind of hold the game back, and not the... Oh, boy, I'm taking some damage. Just holds the game back just a little bit. And so, in a couple of years, I think Wilson will be good, but the problem is... It's just this, like, weird midpoint between Path of Exile and Diablo 3 without the time or the funding to, like, really live up to either. Benefit is, they seem to be doing incredibly well, so hopefully they'll actually be able to, like, realize the potential there. Let's see. We're just looking for Aether Gems. Oh, right, but the interesting thing about this game is the whole map is actually hand-built, which I actually do enjoy. It's weird. I'm actually starting to remember my, like, route through this game, because I've done this before. But yeah, Wilson doesn't have the build variety. It will get there if they keep working on it, and I sincerely hope they do, because it had a lot... it had a lot of, like, immediate potential. Whoops. Oh, I didn't actually spec into dual wielding. I'm a moron. I think green is better, just barely. Yeah, so I gotta get that dual wielding perk, otherwise I can't dual wield. Good to know. There are some, like, really neat things that Wilson does that I'm sure Grim Dawn does too, but I really liked the immediacy of, like, how quickly your build could come together in that game. This one seems like it takes a little longer before you really get that sense of, like, yeah, this is what my build is and this is what I'm doing. But that's more of just kind of a a difference of pacing. I think with Wolcen it was mainly just because you got all of your abilities very early on and you were just kind of leveling them up. I did really like that, though. Like, there's some really neat ideas there, and, like, if they were to make a Wolcen 2, or, like, continue the game with a lot more patches and whatnot, I could really see that shining. The other thing I would say is Grim Dawn is a lot cheaper right now, so if you're looking to buy one or the other, probably pick up Grim Dawn first. I also really like this studio that works on these games, because they're effectively the same studio that made Titan Quest, which shocked me a little bit. I was like, man, I wonder... I'm assuming these games are similar, but no, they just lived on. Very few actually do. Like, very, very few studios from the 2000s actually still exist. Many of the people that worked in them have honestly quit the industry entirely. Ow. Boyo hurts. In Grim Dawn, you need gear to make your build work. Wolcen mostly just worked because of your stats and passive tree. Yep. Thing is, though, like, that actually ended up working to Wolcen's detriment a little bit. There were some nice benefits in regards to, like, Wolcen's gear system, but mainly only for the uniques. I always found myself a little bit bored whenever I found an item in, like, whenever I found an item in Wolcen, if you guys were watching my streams or my videos on it, after a certain point I actually stopped equipping new items, because it was, like, such a minor upgrade. Like, I just didn't care. If it was a unique item, I'd take a look at it. But, like, otherwise, a yellow piece of armor generally had the same stats as another yellow piece of armor with, like, a minor upgrade. And that got kind of fatiguing. I don't know about this one, but having it be slightly more equipment-focused does hopefully mean that the equipment actually matters more. I don't know. Anyway, please stay your weapon, stranger. We're no outlaws. We're captured and put to work here in the mine. Hope you're here to set us free. You slaves here? So it would seem, and nothing's worse to a rover than being confined. We're part of a rover band that set up camp in a secluded part of the Whitemire, hoping to avoid trouble, but trouble found us anyway. They captured 4 of us, but young Larkin and the other 2 men who were here already died from overwork. They just left their bodies down here with us. Rovers follow the path of peace, but I can't help but think the world is a better place, since you set those outlaws to meet their judgment. I can get you to Devil's Crossing using a Riftgate. Riftgate? Curious. Thank you for your kind offer, but we should return to our people, out in the swamps. That is our path. Very well. We'll spread word of your deeds should you ever find yourself in the company of rovers. You'll always find a place besides our fire. Take care. Bye. The wordiness of stats made it hard to identify what's what. I think this game has the same problem. There's too many, like, immediate small stat points. I'd almost prefer it if equipment in video games, especially these games, straight up had maybe, like, 2 to 3 effects, but they were more considerable, I guess. How is that still shining? I have no idea. But, like, this, for example, I guess this isn't so bad. But there's a lot to look at, and it's like, eh. Yeah, I guess this isn't so bad yet. Some others get a little bit more. Well, let's see. Yeah, this game has been around since the 2000s. Yep. I mean, that's really not that long of a period of time, but it has been a while. Like, I remember playing freaking Titan Quest in high school, which, for me at this point, is actually half my lifetime ago, which is very, yeah, fun. And I'm sure, like, to some of you older people watching this, you old fogies, that's, like, no time at all, but still, I can complain about time. I'm getting there. Let's say, once you hit 30, you get the right. I guess I'm not there yet. I turn 30 later this year. Let's see, Wilson's stats on items were like 5% chance to critical chance to hit. Well, it was like, yeah, there was that, but it was like critical hit score, which I wasn't entirely sure what that meant. It was very vague, and I didn't really appreciate that. I'd much prefer a game just tell me, this will give you a 0.01% bonus chance to crit. I'm like, wow, that's nothing. As opposed to like, plus 50 crit score. It's like, what does that mean? And it didn't say. I was entirely at the mercy of just like feeling it out. And that's when I eventually just kind of gave up, and I'm just like, whatever. It'll work out in some way or shape or form, and that's all. Like, I know people like to complain about World of Warcraft's stat squish and simplifying things, but, like, they really went from messy and confusing to, oh yeah, I actually know what all this stuff does now. Because I know they used to have, like, mastery and resilience, and maybe they still have some of that stuff, but they really just, like, simplified that process down to the what was necessary. Still miss the old talent tree in that game. Like, I'd love to play a World of Warcraft with a with a skill tree customization of Path of Exile, for example. But that would be unbalanced, and they can't have that. 35, but you still feel 16. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those that it takes a long time for you to actually start feeling like you've grown up. I honestly don't... I've been doing YouTube... I've been doing YouTube and streaming for 7, going on 8 years now. I think? No, 6 going on 7. Not 7 going on 8. It'll be 7 in September. I started my channel when I was, more or less the day I turned 23. And, like, it is actually getting kind of weird thinking about, like, eras in my life as defined by my YouTube channel more than anything else. Okay. I'm really digging the, I'm digging the fire that I've got going on here. The randomly generated loot in most games tends to be pretty boring, and eventually it's just non-stop stream of meh. Yep. It's rare for me to play a game that I really enjoy the loot from it. Oh, god damn it. Is this healing? I think it's healing that guy. Okay. So I'm gonna say, god damn, this guy is tough. I should probably heal here. I recently got a comment on my Borderlands 3 series. One of the earlier episodes from somebody that was furious that I wasn't trying and considering every single weapon. That it was somehow a travesty that I wasn't, like, trying out every single gun to see if it was better than the other one and, like, actually shooting people. I was just like, holy shit, what is wrong with this person? How do you have that time or focus or even, like, desire? Yeah, like, I get it if it was, like, you know, he didn't bother to equip that unique item immediately, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get that. I still don't have shoes. Okay. There we go. So now we have dual wielding. I think I'm just gonna start with dual wielding and we'll go from there. Let's see. Do I have another pistol? I thought I did, but I don't. No, that's Heart's Amulet. That belt isn't better. Why do I not have shoes? I mean, I guess I have shoes in game, but it's not the same. Yeah. Time squish is especially bad as you get older. I feel it sometimes. where I'm just like, man, this whole week just flew by. I remember when, like, when I was a kid, and it's like, I can't wait until Friday. You know, the weekends are going to be great. Summer breaks would last forever. And maybe part of it is that, like, when you become older, your life becomes considerably more routine. So it's easy for every day to feel samey. Because it's so much harder. Wow, I do a lot more damage now. It's so much harder to, like, have a sense of time when you do the exact same thing day in, day out. When you're young, there's a couple of things that specifically contribute, I guess, to, like, time seeming to take longer. A lot of it has to do with the fact that everything is new. You know, you might never have done calculus before. You might never have, you know, gone swimming in the ocean before. You might not have gone boogie boarding. And the older you get, the less of those, like, new things you have. So it's kind of... your brain filters it out as just noise after a certain point. God, that's scary. It's part of the reason why I've taken up writing to some degree, and I'm sure even writing becomes a little bit more routine. But that's one of the things that I can do for hours on end, and it really does feel like it takes hours on end. And maybe part of it is because I suck at it, so it's kind of like, you know, I'm struggling. It's like I can stream for 7 hours and be like, oh shit, that was the whole day. That was me earlier with Tower, where I was just like, man, I've been playing this for a while. I look over and it's like 3 hours past, and I'm like, oh shit. I like time. I like having time. Hey, it's these guys, maybe. You travel a dangerous path, stranger. This solitary refuge is one of the few safe places left in Whitemire. We plan to set out on the road again. Perhaps there's some way we could help one another. What might that be? The Slith are unnatural creatures and poison the land itself, so it only seems fitting that we should turn some of their vile magic against them. Their shamans carry bone necklaces, primitive things, but they carry primal power within them. I can weave this power into something more potent for you. If you bring me a few of their necklaces, let's say 100 iron bits to aid us in return, I'll fashion you a magic ring. What say you? Sure. I'm assuming I don't have enough. Okay, I actually have already picked up one. That's good. So you can still find them along the way. To be fair, Borderlands 3 has a weirdly Binding of Isaac's like potential for weird combinations of effects. I can understand where that guy is coming from. I can, but he was mad that I wasn't even considering like clear downgrades in terms of damage. And it was just kind of like, it's also one of those where just that level of effort is not meant for streams. Early, while I was trying to pick which class I wanted to play as, I very specifically had cut the recording because I didn't want to. I didn't want to include that. No one wants to watch a guy sitting around for 10 minutes, being like, "What class do I play?" Because like, it's not super interesting content and it's not super exciting. I'm sure a number of like build freaks will get into this sort of thing, and I think that's a good thing. But most people will be like, eh. I think maybe the other thing about getting older with the perspective of time is your more vivid memories seem like they were just yesterday, but some other things feel like so long ago. Like, trying to think back to, like, freshman year of college and all this stuff that I had to do in it. I can remember some vivid events, but there's definitely this feeling of, like, man, that was a long time ago. I think part of it also is, I have a skill, art, that I've been consistently improving over years. And, it's a lot easier for me to kind of feel the passage of time, feel like it's taken a long time to get here because of, you know, how much improvement I've had over the years and that sense of constant progression. Because maybe other people have this or not, but like, even with YouTube, like, I went back to watch my first Wolson video, which feels like forever ago, and I barely remember it. And I was just like, Okay, yeah, let's rewatch this. Let's see how good I was back then. And it's just like, oh god, I am like virtually unlistenable. I don't know how I managed to make it here because I was so garbage back then. And I'm sure I actually wasn't that bad, but like the audio quality was worse, I was worse, and just like a bunch of other things. And so it's neat seeing how far I've come and improved and whatnot. And I'm looking forward to, you know, 5, 10, 15 years from now, writing, drawing, you know, all of my various skills that I've picked up, and saying like, hey, how much better am I compared to where I was? Because I can guarantee, like, I will be a much more accomplished writer years from now. Just wish I was a little bit faster about it. I've been practicing writing for as long as I've been doing YouTube, and more or less what I've been doing for years is just kind of rewriting the same couple of things over and over again, and it wasn't great. I was like, I know I need to like sit down and actually write books to get good at it, but like, it's very hard to push onwards when you just feel bleh about everything that you're doing. You just sit down to read what you wrote the last time, and you're like, yeah, no, let's go back about 4 or 5 pages. And eventually you get happy with... Eventually you become, like, fairly happy with what you've been doing, but... Let's see. Doing something like that earlier, talking to someone about working at EB Games, and realized in the middle of the sentence it was 17 years ago. Yeesh. That was me working in the grocery store parking lot at Market Basket in Burlington. Boy, I guess that's only, what, 14 years ago? But still. Was it even 14 years ago? No, it was more than that. I didn't really start working there until I didn't start working there until I was a senior in high school? Or no, junior in high school. And then I went back one more summer. Okay, so it wasn't that long ago. Still feels like ages. I do not miss working at that place. Front labor is absolutely miserable if you've got terrible bosses and you're paid $7.25 an hour. Ugh. Looking at old art is wild, though. Look back at old stuff of mine, and it's like, how did I feel like this was okay? How was I ever happy with it? Your standards were lower. You weren't, you didn't know better. I was the same way. I have so many pieces that I was so proud of back in college, and I'm like, man, they were bad. Ah, you've returned. Do you have the necklaces? There you go. Ah, yes. There's raw power in these stones, and my deft old hands will weave it into something more potent yet. I'll have the finished ring for you shortly. Okay, let's actually take a look at some of these things. So, better belt for sure. We got a book. Amulet is better attack speed, same amount of energy. Better ring, yes. Maybe better ring. It's also a fairly sweet dagger. Like, there's some good bits going by. Ooh, question is, now, which is better? So offensive ability, defensive ability, health regen, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, flat, physique, cunning, spirit, health, offensive ability, health regen. The last one is acid damage, ether damage, physique, spirit, and offensive ability. And bonus to blade burst and brute force. Those are less useful for shamans, I guess. Alright, let's set that on fire for unclear reasons. I have a lot of points available.